name is Alex and I'm an IELTS teacher in A-Level Educational Center, and today we are going to talk about writing task 1 of IELTS. As you might know, this is a report. Actually, word report says everything we need to know. Report is not an essay, it's not a task 2, it's a completely different story. So, what we need to know? First of all, writing task 1 is an infographic. So, we're gonna see either chart or diagram or pie charts, and what we need to do, it's always the same. We can see the information and we need to put it into words, summarize and describe. That's it. Infographic, convert into words. That's what we need to do, not more, not less. We should have 150 words, so we aim for 170, 180. So we are not going under the required number. We are starting from introduction, of course. Introduction should be very short, 1, maximum 2 sentences. Unlike essay, we don't need to go beyond that, and we have nothing to write actually beyond that. We have limited time, which is 20 minutes. We don't have that much information to put into intro, and there is no necessity for that. So, first question we should ask. In this video we are talking about what to write in task 1. About how to write, I'm gonna make another video. So now we are looking what we need to write, and first question is, what am I looking at? We are looking at the task, and first sentence of intro is always rephrasing that task itself. How to rephrase it, I'm gonna talk about it in another video. What are the main point and the main mistakes which are being made? First of all, if you are not writing the first sentence at all, so we start from another thing. Second, if we are not paraphrasing it, we are writing word by word, then it's not counted and we might go under the requirement of 150 words. Anyway, another mistakes. We are using pronouns I, me, we. If we use we like one time, like we might see from the chart, it's not a grave mistake. But if we keep using it, it's a big mistake. The report is not about us. It's about some things we can see which are not related to us. Secondly, it's not an essay. I will repeat it again and again because many people tend to think that the examiner wants to hear our opinion. Imagine I'm an examiner and I'm not looking at your thoughts. This is, guys, an English test. It's not an intelligence test. I don't even care, to be honest, if you understand what you see. We just need to be able to convert it into words with the correct, proper English. That's it. So, no opinions, no conclusions, no analysis, no explanation, no predictions. Nothing of this is needed. We keep it pretty simple. We keep it straightforward, no need for fancy language here. We just need to depict the facts which we can see. Facts, not the meaning. We don't need to analyze what these facts mean, nothing, just facts. That's it, and that might be hard to understand for many of us. Now, after we are done with intro, we are going to the main body. I wrote that main body should have 2 paragraphs, usually it is, and it should depict 3-4 main features. Why 2? Because we don't need more. In the first paragraph of main body, we should write the main features which we can see from the pie charts, from the flow charts, from the diagram. Why I'm saying 3-4 main features? In writing task 1, there are usually 2 problems, 2 challenges which we might face. 1, if we are not lucky and we are getting, let's say, only 1 line graph, we are getting only 1 line. Then the challenge we might face, how to get 150 words, what to describe. Another challenge, which is far more common, if you are having too much information. Let's say few charts, the whole table, or let's say 6 pie charts comparing water consumption in 6 different regions of the world. Then we have another challenge. We don't know what to write, what we should write. We cannot systemize it all, write it all down. Then we are running out of time, out of space, and this is not necessary for us. That's why 3, maximum 4 main features. the examinators don't want us to describe everything. They can see it from the pie charts. They want to see our ability to summarize it and put it into words. That's it. So let's say we are having a line graph. Whatever. Let this be years on horizontal axis. Let this be hours. Hours children spend watching television each year from, let's say, 1960 to 2000. We see this graph. This is a hard task where we need to get 150 words, and we might struggle with that. We can see peaks, let's say, I'll put it this way. Some peaks, some valleys, or highs and lows. We need to describe that. If we see some stability or plateau, we need to describe that. We are describing, first of all, main patterns and trends. We put it quite general. And then we are describing some anomalies or exception, something which is not typical, which is beyond the trend. And for this, you might need more details. And these details, that's what's gonna provide us with 150 words. Of course, if it's a line graph, pay attention what we can see in the axis. If this is a table, pay attention what you can see in the columns and rows, what the information is given in the headings. What else? If you can see sudden changes like that, of course, we should describe that. So, main things we need to do. Find 3-4 main features. Let's say we have more graphs. Then we need to see what is typical for them. Let's say these are all growing trends. What is typical? We describe that. Then we should describe what is different. Similarities, of course, won't need that much word. We describe the similar trends, that's it. Differences, that's where we need to get more specific. If it's a diagram or a flow chart, we do what? We start, we write down the major steps or milestones, and we finish. That's it. Also, no need to be very precise. Let's say we see a life cycle of a butterfly. It makes eggs, then cocoon goes up, then it turns into butterfly. Of course, I put it extremely simple, but in a nutshell, we need to describe this, where it starts, the main milestones, where it finishes. Also, not need to be very detailed here. We need to get it in 20 minutes and in 150 words and in a good language. Do not try to include everything. I cannot specify, I cannot emphasize it more. We don't need to include everything. Guys, if we have, let's say, 6 regions of the world, these are 3 pie charts, and each of this region has different structure of water consumption. Let's say this is water consumed for domestic needs, this is for agricultural, this is for industry, in 6 different regions of the world. We don't need to describe every region separately, just main trends. Main trends in developed countries, we can see this structure. In developing countries, we can see another structures. Some different things we need to describe. That's it. Main trends, differences. We don't need to describe everything. Regions, not the countries. And that's what takes me to our last hit today. If you get in one chart, trends and anomalies, I have already described that. If you are having 2 charts, we can describe it in 2 ways. In main body part 1, we can describe chart 1. In main body part 2, we can describe chart 2. Or, as I mentioned above, we put similar trends in one chart and major differences in another one. Again and again, no connections. Even if we can see something is pretty clear, we can see the different structure in developed countries and different in developing country. We can see some obvious connections. Or we have master's degree, we were majoring in this related field, we know everything about it, or it's super obvious, still we don't write, we don't make any assumptions, we don't make any correlations, any connections, any conclusions, nothing. We don't make assumptions, we don't need to write the economic theory about that, nobody cares about that, we cannot make anything. And of course, no predictions, we cannot write, most likely it's gonna go downwards, upwards, even if it's super obvious, no need to write that. And this last point brings me to another question which I'm asked quite often, whether we need a conclusion or not. Guys, we don't need the conclusion. All the conclusion is basically the first part of main body where we can describe in general what we can see, general trends. This is the conclusion. If you want to write down a conclusion, one sentence, basically it's going to be a conclusion of the first part of main body. We are not writing anything what I mentioned, so no analysis there. The conclusion is going to be the same description, raw description of facts, nothing else. And these are the main points I wanted to share with you. I hope I managed to clear it up a bit. If you have any other questions, feel free to write it in comments in our Instagram. Of course, you need to be subscribed for our Instagram. And let me know if I can provide you with any other information. As I said, my next video is going to be not about what to write, but how to write task 1. That's it, guys. Thank you for your attention and stay tuned. Bye.